I am atomic.
You know, the year 2022 has come to an end, and now is the ideal time to revisit all of the isekai anime that debuted this year. We've had a lot of good shows, as well as some cringy ones. Let's not talk about those. So let's get some hype in the chat as we're ranking some of my favorite isekai anime with overpowered main characters. Let's go. Number 10, My Isekai Life.
みんな15分で終わらせるぞ。魔法創造。
Are you looking for an anime where the overpowered main character is clueless about his power and surrounded by lots of cute slime? Well, worry not. My Isekai Life is exactly the thing you're looking for. So the anime follows a corporate worker named Yuji who gets summoned to a magical world as a monster tamer. He immediately tames a group of slimes and they transfer knowledge to him that allows him to become a powerful sage. Yeah, he's pretty much broken. You know, I usually don't bother watching anime where a character is overpowered but has no harem, but hey, this one turns out to be just okay. So, you might ask, honest, is it a good story? Well, that depends. If you don't mind generic shows and just want to pass the time by watching an isekai, then perhaps. It's not anything groundbreaking, but it has slimes. I mean, lots of slimes, and you know how overpowered they can be. Number 9, Black Summoner.
お前だけは胸を借りるぞカシェル先輩
Remember Konosuba? Yeah, that guy who asks the goddess to tag along with him on his journey. Well, we have a similar show here, but the only difference is actual love. Yeah, so the anime follows Kelvin, who awakens in another world with no memories of his previous life, and he soon discovers that he willingly gave up his memories in order to gain stronger abilities. Much to his surprise, his past self fell in love with the goddess of reincarnation and asked her to be his servant. Let's be honest, we would have done the same thing. Yes! So, let's get hyped because we have more slimes. Yay! And harem. Now we're talking. Jokes apart, this anime is actually good and differentiates itself from the other generic isekai shows. I know, the characters aren't that well written, but who cares? To those of you who just want a show packed with adventure and an OP main character, go for it. Number 8, The Executioner and Her Way of Life.
よしメノ俺がこの能力で活躍できるとこ教えて
Imagine transferring to another world with some overpowered abilities. Sounds good, right? You're all ready to take on monsters, go on adventures, and create your own harem. But suddenly you're dead.
何
Yeah, turns out you weren't the main character, and you're just some threat to those people. Sucks, right? Well, that's what happens in this anime. It follows Minnow, a priestess charged with assisting the weak and powerless. She's also a church executioner, tasked with dispatching the lost ones. Or you could say transferred ones whose terrifying powers endanger the common people. However, when she meets Akari, it appears to be just another job until she realizes it's impossible to kill this girl. Now, this is one of those anime that you'll enjoy solely for the plot, and not entirely for the characters. The world building is quite different from the typical medieval isekai that we're used to. So if these elements are making you excited, then why not give it a try? Number 7, Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World.
テーブメニューオープンウィンドウオープン終了ウィンドウ終了オプション上書き保存して終了する保存せずに終了する終わるんだよ終われって
Come on, we all crave adult harem shows every now and then, and it's even better when we have two options, censored and uncensored. The better one, not guilty. So the anime is interesting. We follow Michio, who finds himself in a video game-like world where he gets some powerful equipment, kills some bandits, and starts creating his harem. Yeah, that's the entire plot. I'm not kidding, guys. So if you like dark fantasy and want to watch something different, watch it and just don't try to justify anything. In terms of enjoyment, I'd say this anime is slow-paced, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it allows us to become acquainted with each character and form emotional attachments to them. In the end, Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World is a solid harem isekai that does what it wants to. And by that, I mean have some mature content. Kids, keep your innocence. Stay away from this show. Number 6, Parallel World Pharmacy. Here we go again. another pharmacy anime. The show follows Kanji, a medical researcher who works himself to death and is reincarnated in a world as Pharma, a 10-year-old boy who is the son of a renowned pharmacist. He finds himself in a medieval setting with the twist that proper medical treatment is only available to the wealthy. Now, let me ask you, are you someone who enjoys chemistry and medical science? Well, you're gonna love this anime. For the rest of us, I know medical technology can be a little confusing, but the show does a good job of explaining everything. This isn't going to take the world by storm, but I think it's a nice little twist on the usual isekai formula. It has good production values, good pacing, and a sense of self-assurance that makes it entertaining to watch. Number 5. Life with an ordinary guy who reincarnated into a total fantasy knockout.
ただでさえ可愛い俺の可愛いムーブインテリ童貞メガネには刺激が強かろう
そうかなら手を貸そう
Why is it a bizarre title? Okay, this one is a little different, guys, so hear me out. Imagine you and a friend are transported to a fantasy world where you have superhuman abilities. But when you look at your friend, he has transformed into a she. Sounds pretty messed up, right? But it's also pretty hilarious. So this is exactly what happens here. Now, to reclaim his male body, he must embark on an adventure with his friend to defeat the world's demon lord. So this anime is yet another prime example of how first impressions can be wrong, and how it's often worthwhile to try new things at least once. I mean, I never expected this to be amusing and entertaining. If the gender-bending angle appeals to you, this is probably the series for you, but don't expect anything too deep or complicated. It's here to have fun and make people laugh, and I'd say it accomplishes that just fine. Number 4. Trapped in a dating sim.
解析終了しました。パイロットの安全確保も可能です。手加減って難しいよね。インパクト。
This anime follows a random guy who's pressed by his sister to complete an otome game, so that she can view all the unlocked scenes without having to play the game. Yeah, siblings. I'm lucky I don't have one. So, right after beating the game, he goes to buy some food and falls down the stairs and dies. But surprise, surprise, he gets reincarnated into the same otome game as a regular background character. Poor guy. Only thing is, he still remembers everything from when he played and finished the game. You know, sometimes the most basic stories turn out to be the most enjoyable, and that's exactly the case here. It has a fantastic cast and an intriguing hook that will keep you entertained throughout the adventure. So if you enjoy isekai anime in which the guy gets 2 girls, this is the show for you. I mean, come on, you can't say no to a good harem.
No.
Number 3. Reincarnated as a sword.
強い魔獣はもらえる魔石値も多い。
So this is like your average isekai, but the twist is the main character being, you guessed it, a sword. It follows an unnamed main character who dies and wakes up in a fantasy world as a sword. After that, we can see Fran, an enslaved cat girl. She prays to become stronger and by chance comes across our sword, whom she names Teacher. Seriously, Teacher? Now, what I like best about this show is how it shifted from the typical isekai fantasy of a guy being reincarnated and getting all the girls to a guy being reincarnated and becoming a dad. I know this father-daughter relationship is particularly unusual in isekai stories. This adds something new to what has become a somewhat stale genre. So if you like those elements and want to watch something different from your typical show, then surely give it a shot. Number 2. The Eminence in Shadow. Guys, why is literally nobody talking about this anime? Why is it still stuck in the underrated area? Come on, let's show this anime the love and attention that it deserves. This is genuinely one of the most surprisingly good anime of the year for me, and definitely one of my favorites from this season. The anime follows Sid, a young boy who lives in modern Japan and aspires to be a hero with superpowers. Basically, he's a chunibyo. He gets good old truck-cooned and reincarnated into a fantasy world. This world has magic and harem, but let's cut out the harem part. Yeah, this is yet another anime with a distinct protagonist who's lazy at heart, but still proves to be a badass. That is a unique combination, and I absolutely love it. So if you're into this type of story and don't mind the tiny bits of harem, I don't. then you should definitely give it a try. Number 1. Uncle from Another World. The anime industry is full of stories about people being transported to another world, but what if they return to Japan after spending a significant time there? That's what Uncle from Another World has come to tell us. Takafumi's uncle was hit by a truck in the year 2000 and was in a coma for 17 years. Good old truck. Anyway, he tells Takafumi that he spent those 17 years in the other world of Gran Bahama, and he has the magical powers to prove it. Now that's something unique. With its silly references to flip phones and Sega Genesis, this anime series is a delightful tribute to the 1990s and early 2000s. Those were the days. Now, is this the best isekai ever created? Probably not, because it isn't exactly an isekai if you think about it, but it's still an incredible series, and we hope it continues to be awesome.
世界の闇は貴様が思っているよりもはるかに深い。
ならば潜ろう。
So there goes my favorite isekai anime of 2022. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to drop a like and leave a comment about your favorite anime. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more anime content like this.
With every passing year, anime as a medium keeps on growing, and with that, the demand for more epic shows has skyrocketed, and the lineup for 2023 seems to hold the standard. Hello and welcome back to Animeology. Today we've compiled for you a list of the best upcoming anime in 2023. So sit back and enjoy the list of these new breathtaking shows that will take the medium as a whole to new heights. Number 10, Giant Beast of Arse. The tale takes place in an age of swords, heroes, and myths. The land created by giant beasts, but later stolen by humans who came in open conflict with them. The beasts started eating these invaders in retaliation, but the humans called upon the power of gods to fend them off. A war began when the beasts started spreading around the world, with humans fighting and hunting them for survival. Jiro is a man who has escaped death on several occasions and hunts the giants to earn a living. Curious about the truth of the world, he sets on a journey with his friends to unravel the mysteries about it and the reasons for their sufferings, with the goal to ease the pain inflicted upon humanity and to understand the giant's unruly behavior. Will he succeed in this quest? Number 9, Handyman Saito in Another World. Saito is a normal human living the life of a handyman. Even though his abilities help everyone around him by quite a bit, no one really appreciates the hard work that he's put together, which leaves him feeling a bit let down. But all of that abruptly changes with Saito getting teleported to another world filled with magic and dungeons. But what can a powerless Saito do? However, as fate sees fit, Saito's handyman abilities prove to be very helpful in this fantasy world, especially in the challenging terrains of the dungeon. And more than anything, his work is perceived as extremely valuable. With that, he says goodbye to his previous life and starts a new adventure with a gang of interesting individuals who he finds joy with hanging around. Number 8, Rurouni Kenshin. 10 years have passed since the dreadful event of Bakumatsu, an era of war that saw the uprising of citizens against the Tokugawa shogunate. Despite all the past time, peace is yet far from reach. Cruelty ceases to stop, whereas the government seems pleased to just line their pockets with money. Our hero, Kenshin Himura, still works tirelessly to make sure the values he fought for are worth the life spent. Haunted by guilt of his past, Kenshin has sworn never to kill anyone again. Now in the 11th year of the Meiji, he stumbles upon Kaoru Kamiya, whose dojo was being threatened to be closed down. And when murders begin happening in its midst, Kenshin takes it upon himself to clear their names. But how long can he stay before his past comes back to haunt him? Number 7. The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten.
これは甘くてじれったい
After giving his only umbrella to a girl sitting in the rain, Amane Fujimiya catches a cold. Thinking it was an obvious act of kindness, he expects his umbrella to be returned. However, Mairo Shina, who also happens to be his neighbor, wants to return the favor tenfold by asking to take care of him until his cold subsides. Though, entering his room, it's more than clear how careless Amane is in cleaning. The only word that comes out of her mouth to describe the mess is unsightly. But despite that, she proceeds to help the hopeless Amane. She helps Amane in all kinds of chores, which include cooking and cleaning. How will their daily interactions help develop their relation with each other, and how will it make Amane even more hopeless than he already is? Number 6. Tomo-chan wa Onanoko. Aizawa Tomo and Junichiro are the best of buddies that you will ever come across. Through thick and thin, they got each other's back and would always be there for each other if the moment ever presented. However, there's just one tiny problem. Tomo is in love with Jun without him realizing. Ever since childhood, Tomo has given the impression of being another one of the guys due to her muscle brain nature. She finally decides to make her move, but to her disappointment, even after she explicitly confesses, she gets instantly rejected. Worse on that, Jun adds that he didn't even realize that she was a girl for the longest time. However, Tomo has not yet given up as she tries to catch Jun's eye and escape the infamous bro zone. Number 5. Bungo Stray Dogs Season 4. It's been about a month since the detective agency and Port Mafia joined forces to win the cannibalism operation. Soon after, the agency gets a request from the government which involves the murder of 4 young senators, and now it's up to them to get to the bottom of things and prevent any more fatalities. As the investigation begins, it soon becomes imminent that it was a trap set by the cunning demon Fyodor, who was supposed to be captured. The detective agency now has its hand full as it faces new enemies one after another. Amidst that, Atsushi finds his friendship falling apart with the rest of the members of the agency, and with the huge battle coming up, will he be able to overcome this unprecedented crisis? Number 4. Hell's Paradise. Gabimaru the Hollow, a famous ninja of the Iwagakure village, was set up by his own fellow men and is now on a death row. Tired of killing and betrayal, he has no will left to live. But remembering his wife, he refuses to die and decides to return to her once again to give life another try, as it was his wife who made him soften up. Upon hearing this, the famous executioner Simon offers Gabimaru to join an expedition to an island south of Japan and search for the elixir of life. Upon completing his mission, he would be pardoned for all his crimes and be able to return to his ideal life. However, the island is anything but ordinary, filled with the most vicious of killers. Number 3. Onichan wa Oshimai. Mayu Oyama is just your average erotic game lover, when one day upon waking he discovers that he has turned into a woman. Turns out it was his mad scientist little sister Mihari, who ended up trying one of her new experiments on her brother, and the outcome? Disastrous.
とまあ可愛らしくなっちゃって。
Although things do not look good as they are for Mahiro, Mihari is determined to study him as her test subject. But that doesn't mean Mahiro will be helping her in any way as he goes back to his shut-in game-playing life. With things standing as they are, everything sure is going to get weirder and weirder from now on.
何か困ってるなら手伝うけど、せっかく可愛くなったんだから、ちゃんとお手入れして。
Number 2, Vinland Saga Season 2.
敵は強いぜ。
A new era begins in the southern part of Jutland Peninsula in Denmark. Thorfinn is bought by the landowner Ketil as a slave and assigned to work on his farm for land reclamation. There, Thorfinn meets a young man, Einar, who once was also a slave like him. Remembering all his past sins, Thorfinn must now atone and once again find meaning in life.
俺は戦士だった。
On the other hand, Canute has become the king of England and is attempting to extend his territory for the establishment of the Promised Land. How will his rule bring about change in the country, and will he be able to live up to his expectations as a king?
空っぽの方がいい。ほれ見ろ、トルフィン。
Number 1, Shangri-La Frontier. Second-year high school student Hisutome Rakuro has interest in one thing only, which is finding shitty games and beating the crap out of them. His gaming skills are second to none, and his interest in games sees him enjoy almost every game that he plays, no matter how bad it is. That is when he comes across the new best-selling VR game Shangri-La Frontier and deciding to try it out and waste no time in quickly finishing up his character, skipping the prologue and jumping straight into action. However, even as skilled as a gamer as Rakuro, will he be able to discover all the secrets that the Shangri-La Frontier hides?
So, how's the new year been treating you? It was a wild 2022, and with more of 2023 on the horizon, I bet you're excited for the next batches of anime seasons that we're getting. Last year, I already made a video on what I think are some of the titles that you'll be excited for in the coming years, and let's narrow that timeline down a little bit now. In this video, I'll solely be focusing on action anime that have been confirmed for a 2023 release. So strap yourselves in and sit back for the ride as we try to do a quick run through of 2023 and some action anime to get excited for. Dead Mount Deathplay starts off the list. And here we have an isekai kicking things off, but it's not the traditional one as you'd expect. It's a reverse isekai, where the necromancer in his final gambit reincarnates himself into our world. It's kind of similar to a Devil is a Part-Timer premise, but the similarities pretty much end there. Dead Mount Deathplay takes things to the deeper end, having a dark story that shows us the less glamorous side of modern society. Yakuza fights, the police, gang chases, assassins, you get the picture, don't you? It's a pretty solid story from what I've seen so far, and I like how the world gets set up, with Poker, that's our necromancer protagonist in his new identity, coming to grips with the world he's found himself in, as well as how his magic interacts with it. It's a story that plays with the usual fantasy and reincarnation tropes, and while it may at first seem like a premise that's been done before, as I've said, it's got a more chaotic and edgy feel to it. A lot of interwoven plots and such, as expected of the writer Ryogo Narita, who you may know as the guy behind Durarara. Got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too is the next show on the list.
人生に絶望する俺が開いたのなんだろうこの扉異世界への扉だった
What a mouthful of a title there. The isekai genre. The keywords like cheat. You know where this is headed, don't you? But before this gets brushed off as just another isekai, this title doesn't have a nifty twist to it. If you still haven't guessed from the title, it's about bullied boy Yuya Tenjo who finds a door to another world. There he finds a world of treasure, of magic, of all the things he ever wanted. But why stay in that other world like most isekai protagonists? Why confine yourself when you can bring everything back to the real world and start anew, being the best version of yourself? It's something that really plays to the escapist themes of the isekai genre, only now much more overt about it. How could that be anyway? Being able to just go to the fantasy world and come back reinvent yourself, and be the best and strongest you ever wanted to be. This series obviously targets a specific niche, but if you're into it, this might be to your liking.
テレビアニメリセレベ2023年4月放送開始
A lot of times we get caught up watching anime, but don't you wish that you had easy access to some delicious food by your side? Introducing the sponsors of this video, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako, a double header of subscription-based snack boxes that'll give you the Japan experience in the comforts of your own home. Sakurako is the one that you'd want to go for if you're up for some artisan and authentic Japanese snacks by your side. This month's box lets you celebrate the new year with a collaboration with Niigata Prefecture and its best snack makers. With the year of the rabbit coming up, you get some awesome sweets headed your way. I personally love this crepe here. You know what else is included? A sake cup. Perfect for cheers and drinking liquor the Japan way. However, if you prefer something more modern and more seasonal, Tokyo Treat might be the thing for you. This snack box specializes in the latest and most exclusive snacks that you can get from Japan, all while emphasizing the concept of cool Japan. You want some proof? How about this Spy Family candy featuring Anya, since that anime is all the rage in the world right now. Don't forget to use my code VINNY to get $5 off your first box, and check this out, a possible trip to Japan. Now ain't that cool? You can check out the link in the description for more details, and thank you once again for sponsoring the video, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako. Another title I'm on the lookout for is Undead Unluck.
死なせるかよ。やっと見つけたんだ。俺に本物の
Now, here's a unique premise, although not something too foreign if you're a fan of fairy tale. Undead Unluck tells the story of Fuko Izumo, probably the unluckiest person alive. Here's the catch though. Anyone she touches gets stricken with the worst fortunes possible, even indirectly resulting in their deaths. That's why she's so eager to end her own existence. Until one day, she encounters Andy. A death seeker like herself, Andy is an immortal, someone who's a perfect match for Izumo's constant stream of misfortune. Izumo decides to help Andy get the most appropriate end possible, but little do they know that a mysterious organization lurks in the shadows looking to take advantage of their strange powers. What kind of misadventures await this unlikely duo? Watch Undead Unluck to find out.
いいね。最高だ。
We take the fantasy aspects further with the title at number 7, Ragnar Crimson.
銀の武器が発する銀気で血液を凍らせるもしくは太陽でその身を焼く
Ragnar Crimson takes us more to the traditional fantasy world that we've grown to love. This is a world where dragons ruled and mankind must band together in order to fight against said rulers. Our protagonist, the dragon hunter Ragnar, takes the lead with his eyes on victory. Victory at all cost, even if it means allying with the mysterious Crimson. However, power comes at a price, and that may be something that Ragnar might not be prepared for. Now, here's an anime for those who love the good old high fantasy RPGs. Ragnar Crimson, as a manga, has a lot of things going for it. It's got some really great fights, and the artwork just makes it look way more spectacular than it had any right to be. Great story progression too, and when the stakes are high, you really feel it. So now it's time to see if it'll translate well into an anime format, but I'm not worried about this one. After all, Silverlink will be doing the anime. They've done a pretty good job at a lot of the shows I've enjoyed, so I think the series is in good hands. We've also got a lot of people from Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen involved, so get ready for some insane battle scenes down the line.
俺が絶対に死なせないさあ私と出会えラグナそれが始まりだ
Number 6 is Shangri-La Frontier. Have you ever felt that motivation? That urge to just clear video games no matter how terrible they are? You'll probably hit it up well with Rakuro, who makes it a creed to find all the awful games from the bottom of the barrel and clearing them with his unparalleled gaming skills. Deciding to play a good game for once, he comes across this new MMO. Shangri-La Frontier seems to be nothing more than a tiny roadblock for him to run over, so he jumps straight into the action and looks to max out his stats, never mind the prologue and background. However, skilled as he may be, he may have found his match in Shangri-La Frontier. Perhaps it's now that he's got to do dig deep into his experience of playing all those terrible games in order to uncover the secrets behind Shangri-La Frontier. This is gaming anime done in a really entertaining way. The world's well thought out, and I like how the title shares some aspects of gaming culture in a tongue-in-cheek way. If you're someone who's spent a substantial amount playing games and interacting with others in MMOs, the show can have a lot of things for you to enjoy, stuff that you can relate to even. Next, we have Mashle at number 5.
ぶっ壊すしかないでしょ。グーパンで。
One Punch Man meets Harry Potter, as so many have said. Mashle is, quite the unique spectacle. Being tagged as a threat that must be eliminated, young Mash Burndead turns to battling magic itself. How does he do it? He trains his body to become strong enough to overcome magic, and when his secret gets exposed, he only turns to forcing the world to acknowledge his existence. Thus begins his adventure at Eastern Magic Academy, where he competes with the best of the best. The magical Mash may seem handicapped, but with his training and fists, he looks to break through all those challenges and become the divine visionary. People have called these Magic School anime Harry Potter derivatives, but I haven't seen an anime that looks so similar yet. Mashle's one of those manga that took quite a while to pick up, but it's done really well for itself with its endearing underdog story and comedy that harkens back to one's work. If you're up for some fun magic action this 2023, you're definitely going to want to check this one out.
そろそろ一筋肉動かしますか。
マッシュル。
Next up is Byaoren, Blades of the Guardians. It's been a while, but Byaoren, Blades of the Guardians is finally ready to hit the screens. Set in the Sui dynasty, the story tells of people struggling to live under the rule of the terrible Emperor Yang Guang. In order to avoid being pursued by the imperial court, our protagonist, who is a master swordsman, takes on an escort mission. The end goal of this perilous quest? The capital Chang'an. Would salvation await him at the end of the journey, or will it lead to doom amidst the political chaos in China? Coming off a really great manhwa, the anime adaptation seems like it will take it further with insane animation, stunning visuals, and overall great production values. The PVs have looked really good and look like they could give Ufotable a run for their money, and I bet fans will appreciate the amount of love and work that got put into it. Ranked third in the most anticipated action anime is Hell's Paradise.
刀には人の本性が映る。伽藍のガビ丸。あなたは生に執着している。
What do you do with a guy that just refuses to die? The same question puzzled the one who was set to execute Gabimaru the Hollow. Betrayed and sent to death's row, Gabimaru just wouldn't die. But with such a freak of nature as a possible asset, he gets offered a chance of salvation. That is, if he can survive the treacherous island that's said to contain the elixir of life. So begins the journey that will test Gabimaru's mettle to the limit. With hazards in the island and inmates for partners that he's not sure he can trust, danger lurks everywhere in this journey. But for the sake of salvation and a new life with his loved ones, there's little that can stop Gabimaru the Hollow. The hit Shonen Jump Plus title finally gets its chance to shine as an anime, and it's coming this 2023.
死罪人も未知の島も関係ない。必ず生きて帰る。君のために。忍術が見たいと言ってたな。とくと見よ。忍法非暴死。
At number 2 is a timeless classic, Rurouni Kenshin. Rurouni Kenshin has been one of the most enduring legacy titles out there. Numerous spin-offs, a handful of supplementary material, live-action adaptations that were actually good. The ball keeps rolling in 2023 as we'll be getting a remake of the original series. As for my opinions on this series, I don't think it's a remake that we really needed considering how good most of what we already have is. However, the 90s series did leave us hanging due to it being cancelled after filler hell. Perhaps with this new iteration of the series, we can have the more complete version of Rurouni Kenshin. Old fans seem very excited to see Kenshin make a grand return in anime form, and here's to hoping we get a lot of new fans to enjoy the story of the wandering swordsman and his path to redemption. However, the excitement for Rurouni Kenshin pales in comparison to the #1 most anticipated action anime of 2023, it's Solo Leveling. It's finally here. For years, fans have begged for an animated adaptation of one of the most popular webtoons out there. There was hope when all those webtoons were getting adapted in 2020, then nothing. No Solo Leveling at all. However, it didn't take long for the fans to get their wish, as this hit webtoon will finally hit our screens in 2023. It's super popular as a series, and I think people who love stories that feature a protagonist overcoming things and going from weak to overpowered would love this anime. Sung Jinwoo's immersive and gritty tale of going through dungeons and overcoming the strongest monsters could in a way give some flashbacks to titles like Ari Fureta. With A1 Pictures manning the helm in this adaptation and familiar names like Hiroyuki Sawano involved, they really planned this to be a big scale production, and I don't think it's going to disappoint.
Sit on your couch, grab a box of chocolates, lament about your single life, and start watching these romance movies. Here are 10 of the best new romance anime movies you must watch. Let's go. Number 10, Belle.
それは彼に導かれて
出て行け。
でも
出て行け。
Belle is one of the most unique drama movies I've ever seen. It doesn't have romance as the other titles in this list, but it's a fast-paced drama that speaks to the issue of virtual reality. In the future, there is an app called You, which allows people to create a virtual persona and start a new life. Suzu is a shy girl from the countryside who uses this app to create a singular persona named Belle. This is where she meets an evil, chaotic beast called the Dragon.
まるで鬱憤を晴らそうとしているみたい。
これ見よがし背中のあざをアピールするうざいやつ。
あんなにあざだらけなんだ。
Don't worry, this isn't an actual dragon. This is a person who created another virtual persona. And Suzu needs to find out who he is if she needs to get closer to her. Belle is a movie that shows a world that is ruled by virtual reality and speaks about issues like identity and fame. If you haven't watched this, give this a shot. And make sure to invite Mark Zuckerberg to your watch party. The guy could learn a thing or two from this movie. Number 9, Farewell, My Dear Kramer movie, First Touch.
うるさい。出てあんたに勝つって言ったでしょ。いいぞ。じゃあね。
ちょっと待って。
Don't judge a book by its cover. Even though this has sports in it, it still has romance too. This movie speaks about a girl who wants to play soccer, but since there are no soccer teams for girls in her area, she has to play with boys. All her opponents are boys who are better than her, so when she meets a guy from her past, she decides it's time to learn soccer and start teaching a lesson to the boys.
俺はボロボロになってく女なんか見たくないだけだ。
そんな玉じゃねえや。
This is a prequel to the anime called Farewell, My Dear Kramer, but since this is a prequel, you don't have to watch the anime to understand the story. Apart from being a good romance anime, this is also a realistic sports anime. Instead of presenting the people playing the sport like some overpowered super soldiers, this show goes for a more grounded approach for the sport. The characters here are also really interesting, so check this one out. Number 8, To All of You That I Loved.
君はこの世界のカズネじゃない。でも。
いやよ。ようやく会えたの。
Time for some science with love. Ever heard of parallel worlds? If you got tired of watching Doctor Strange, this might not be the show for you. But if you love the concept, then this romance anime will fit right into your watch list. Here we meet a guy called Koyome Takasaki, who is attending a local university prep school. He is one of these fellows with heavy social anxiety, so he has trouble making friends. But one day, he's approached by a girl called Kazune, who says they dated in a parallel world, so they should start dating here as well.
全てに君がいたとしたら、全ての君を愛してる。僕が愛した全ての君へ。
The whole movie isn't about this guy dating a girl because parallel worlds have their own threats. This is one of those romance anime movies that combines a sci-fi concept really well with its romance. This aired last October, but you'll still have to wait a little while for the DVD release. Number 7, words bubble up like soda pop.
すごい。じゃあ作ってみて。
今
あ、ごめん。なんかずうずうしかったかも。
What makes me watch this show is the animation and the art style. The art style feels unique and the animation is simple, but both of these help push forward the movie about finding self-confidence. It's about one girl judging her appearance and confidence by her looks and slowly realizing you don't need to always be a hot anime girl to get the self-confidence you need.
見て見て。
花火
可愛くない？
かわいい。
Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop isn't some revolutionary movie, but it still knows how to be entertaining. It isn't filled with romantic tension right from the start because it starts off as a slice of life and then moves to romance. This is also one of those friends who become lovers in anime, so the first part of the movie is about being friends, and the second part is about finding love. Number 6, To the Only Me Who Loved You.
私だけは知っています。彼がそちらの世界の過去へ行ったことを。
This has a completely different concept, but it's better than I expected. The movie happens in a world where people routinely swing between parallel worlds. Here we have a guy called Koyumi and a girl called Shiori. They both have a crush on each other, but like every anime couple to exist, they are shy to confess their love to each other. But things change when Koyomi's father marries Shiori's mother. This makes the two step-siblings, so they decide to jump into a parallel world where they are not step-siblings.
タイムシフト後にこちらの世界の記憶が残る可能性はゼロに等しいと言っていいでしょう。
The concept has been explored in the movie. I spoke at number 8, but the execution here felt much better. The story is much simpler and easier to follow, and the animation is also much better. If you want to watch a romance story that involves parallel worlds, then first watch this one, and then watch To All of You That I Love. Number 5, Josie, the Tiger and the Fish.
待てよ。どこ行くつもりだよ。
お前には関係ない。お、離してこら。
Caretaking is always hard, but taking care of a tsundere? That's a big no-no for any anime guy in the entire universe. But this guy decides to help a tsundere and even make her fall in love with him. Oh, and this isn't a high school romance because this happens in university.
管理人のくせに生意気や。
管理人？
そうや。お前は今日から管理人や。
なんだそれ。
On one side, we have a hardworking guy called Tsuyono Tsuakawa, and his goal is to collect enough money to fulfill his dreams. On the other side, we have a girl called Kumiko, a crippled girl who is annoying and likes to insult everyone. After a chance encounter, Tsuneo is appointed as Kumiko's caretaker. Josie, the Tiger and the Fish is a romance anime movie that starts slow, but develops into something amazing. The tsundere might annoy you, but you know how these people are. As soon as you show them some affection, they start to fall in love with you. Number 4, Sword Art Online, Progressive, Shezro of Deep Night.
この人強い。
Good job.
そっちも。
Remember the very first season of Sword Art Online? Yeah, it's about this guy called a black swordsman who gets trapped in a game and then meets this girl called Asuna. The movie decides to shove Kirito as a side character and instead focus on Asuna. The animation here is definitely the selling point of the movie. The original Sword Art Online had some great animation too, but oh boy, look at this. With this movie, fans can go back to the roots of Kirito and Asuna's relationship. How did it all start? What sort of monsters did they fight in the first few floors? These are the questions that this movie hopes to answer. So far, it feels like the SAO team is trying to correct its past mistakes with this remake, so let's hope that we get a more refined story and better action with this movie. Number 3, Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feel. Remember how I praised Sword Art Online for its animation? Well, that animation becomes an ant when you compare it with this. I know, you aren't here for the fight scenes. You've heard plenty of times about the fight scenes. You're here to know if the romance is good. Sakura wasn't one of my favorite characters when I started to play the visual novel, but this movie made me like her. We explored her abusive childhood, saw how her personality changed, and they even built the Sakura-Shiro relationship in an interesting way. But do we get Saber in this route? Yeah, we actually do, but I don't think she's that smiling, cheerful white knight from the first two routes. Number 2, Kaguya-sama, Love is War. The first kiss that never ends.
その男のことは忘れるのか?
可能性はありません。
I guess everyone knows about Kaguya-sama. In this anime, we meet the two prideful students, Shirogane and Kagaya, who are never willing to confess their love to the other because of their pride. This always puts them in funny situations that manage to embarrass one of them, or it turns into a competition that results in the victory of one party. I know that's a pretty simple formula, but it always works. But in this movie, things start to get serious.
一緒に寝よう。照れてるんですか？
The movie is all about giving more time for romance and less time for comedy. This doesn't mean the season isn't going to have any comedy. It has some good moments that'll make you laugh, but at the same time, it'll make Kaguya and Shirogane's relationship way more serious. If you were a longtime Kaguya fan, then you'll love this show. Number 1, Fruits Basket Prelude.
大好きです。曲。それはとっても無敵です。
Finally, we have Fruits Basket, an anime that doesn't involve fruits and instead has various animals and a main character with a wholesome personality. Fruits Basket tells the story of Toru Honda, a high school girl who gets to know the existence of the Soma family who can transform into beasts related to the Chinese zodiac. Soon she develops a tight bond with the Soma family and becomes great friends with Yuki and Kyo, another two boys of her age. That's what we had on the TV show, but this movie gives us something different.
この人寂しいんだきっとこの人も今の自分が寂しい
If you love Koyuko and Katsuya, or if you need to experience that emotional journey of Fruits Basket once again, then this is what you should be looking for. Just like the TV series, the production quality of this is off the charts. And I don't think I need to speak about writing. Unlike other shows, Fruits Basket was always popular because of the way it developed its characters and their relationships. You can pretty much expect the same quality from this movie.